Meeting is called to order. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to welcome everyone to the September Committee of the Whole meeting for the Community High School District 94 Board of Education. Mission statement, please.
Community High School will ignite foster leadership and responsibility, and empower all learners to live their personal best.
Thank you, Rich. Board agreements, please.
Board members recognize giving our individual opinion or stating a fact on social media, it has the potential to impact the entire board. When promoting official district business and activities, personal use of social media should be limited to directly sharing links from the district media platforms without personal editorial or opinion. Board members will not post rebuttals, responses, corrections to district-related social media posts.
Thank you, Lynn. Roll call, please.
Mr. Brown?
Present.
Ms. Casey Mayer?
Here.
Mr. Nagel?
Present.
Mr. Remus?
Present.
Ms. Munoz? Here. Ms. Chavez? Ms. Murphy?
All right, that brings us to public participation. This is the portion of our meeting where any member of the public may address the Board of Education on any topic. We welcome your comments and will carefully listen to your concerns. We will not be able to engage in a dialogue during public participation, but when appropriate, we will direct the administration to follow up. Presentations are limited to no more than 5 minutes per person, with a total time limit of 30 minutes for public participation. If you are making public comment, please speak slowly so that the translator is able to keep up with you. If you wish to make personal charges or complaints against individual employees, volunteers, or students of the district, we request that you send the board your concerns in writing rather than stating those concerns during public comment. If anyone currently present wishes to make public comment and hasn't yet already done so, please fill out one of the comment forms in the back of the room and hand it to someone at the table. At this point, we have received no electronic public comments and a public comment form from Gary Sake.
On August 19th, I submitted a request, no means request for some board minutes, closed session. And then coming up on the 26th, Sherry asked to extend the time of that request to what would be September 3rd, tomorrow. Tonight, there's a action item to destroy the records that I have requested, and I find that problematic. I would ask you to step back from that, defer that action. There's no reason that it needs to be done tonight until the FOIA is disposed of. And just to advise you also that if the FOIA is rejected, I will be going to the Attorney General, Public Access Counselor, to follow up and have them opine on it. Appreciate your attention. Thank you.
Okay. At this point, there's no more public participation, so reports and information. Teaching, Learning, and Professional Development Report.
Good evening. I do have two memos that I'd like to review with you. The first, just the overall teaching and learning report. Tomorrow, as you know, will mark the end of the third week of school. We would like to share with you some of the work that has been going on. So first, we've had 4 professional development sessions in regard to professional learning communities. In the first session, I'd like to recognize senior Julia Copa, who served as a student representative on the strategic planning committee, and then also presented with Dr. Coyle and myself on articulating the role of the strategic plan as being connected to the foundations of our PLC work. Second and third sessions were led by directors Nick Kempsky and Megan Payleitner, as well as Science Division Chair Scott Albright, which focused on the impact of an educator's mindset on student learning and professional growth, as well as reinforcing the 3 big ideas and 4 questions that guide PLC work. Just as a side note, in terms of the use of the word educator, really all we're talking about are all of the adults in the building The most impactful occurred on August 25th when our PLC consultant, Jack Balderman, spoke to the faculty during late start time. He challenged Wildcats to build mindsets of compassion, collective team efficacy, a championship vision, and then leading from every seat, as well as really focusing on authentic celebration to recognize staff and students. Balderman also really looked for a commitment to the belief that all students can and must learn, and the philosophy of all means all. He emphasized that a professional learning community must focus on what we can do rather than anything that's beyond our locus of control. The presentation concluded with a reference to the work of, thank you, of John Hattie, who talks about collective team efficacy and looking at the impact that that belief in the staff as a whole, the ability to make impact on student learning. All staff will meet for a final large group introductory session that'll be led by administrators on September 15th, and that will be followed by small professional learning team meetings on question 1 later on this month. In addition to that, I wanted to share with you 2 open house presentations that were conducted last month. First, more than 200 parents and students checked in at this year's open house. The first session that was offered was by the AVID team, led by AVID site coordinator Nicole Stadler, as well as AVID teachers Jen Culbertson, Emily Hernandez, and Michelle Walters. There were approximately 100 AVID students and family members who came together to celebrate their commitment to post-secondary success and preview the resources and opportunities that the D94 AVID program offers. Following that presentation, there was one that was in regard to the changes that were made this year in our grading practices. The presentation was done in English and Spanish, and that was conducted by Dr. Juan Suarez and myself to really provide a rationale for the shifts, to be able to review the 4 changes that we're making, and then preview the additions to academic support, which I will review with you as well. In terms of academic support, if you'll recall, we're now in our 4th year of the implementation of the Student Support Initiative. So the exciting changes that were put into place this year is that we were able to expand the offerings in academic support. So we now have teachers from business, driver's ed, which is specifically in regard to the simulator, which has a limited access. ESL and world languages faculty are all offered, so a total of 10 then for students in academic support. The second edition has been what we're calling a core den. So if you look at that, these are students who are juniors or seniors who've been identified as the most in need of support in order to ensure that they're passing their core classes. This provides them with 2 hours over the 4 days out of the week where they're able to have access to core teachers in English, math, social studies, and science. And these are also students who do not have any other support courses throughout their regular schedule. And then finally, the third resource is the addition of AP academic support, and that is for 10 AP classes. So faculty began meeting last week with students to provide access to instruction, review, retake practice, as well as retakes. And that's for approximately 950 AP students. And we're able to cover courses, 950 out of the 1,126 students who are enrolled in total. So we're really looking forward to be able to share some information about that with you as well. And then secondly, just to give you a brief board report from DEOS. So first of all, that meeting was held on August 21st. There were 4 new board members throughout DuPage County who were sworn in addition to my swearing in as well. We have a new executive director, Mike Fumagalli, and one of the things that he reported on was a request for proposals. TCD will be going through a strategic planning process, which is exciting, just especially in light of our completing ours. So they're really looking for a consultant who would have a specialization in this particular area because it will be so focused on the building of pathways, the services that are able to be provided there. In addition to that, the other second key item was that They adopted a resolution in support of the Illinois Vision 2030, which I'm sure sounds familiar to you because that was one of the things that you engaged in. So to quickly review, 2030 identifies 4 key priorities for the future. Talking about the idea of future-focused learning, which very much aligns with the work that we're going to be doing. And those particular areas are college and career exploration aligned to 21st century skills, expanded collaboration and investment in student safety and well-being, development and retention of a diverse workforce, so really looking at faculty and staff diversity, as well as local curricular and instructional control, really having an acknowledgement of the idea that different districts have different needs and being respectful of those differences. And with that, I will close. Thank you.
Any questions or comments? All right, thank you very much. That brings us to postage machines.
Thank you. Back in 2000, the district requested pricing for the replacement of our postage machines. The district has a large machine in the student services area, and then we have, that's for all of our regular school mailings, and then a smaller one in the district office for our monthly mailing of bills. At that time, we entered into a 5-year agreement with Postal Source, who utilizes Quadient machines. The Quadient machines and service from Postal Source have not received good feedback from our staff. As such, and because we've had Pitney Bowes machines prior to that, I reached out to a representative from Pitney Bowes to discuss options as the district's contract with Postal Source would be ending in the next 4 months. Pitney Bowes provided a proposal through the State of Illinois agreement to replace our current machines. Considering some of the issues with our current machines, we investigated options to actually get the new machines before the Postal Source contract actually ended. Pitney Bowes offered to install the new machines early, and then we could take out the Quadient machines. We would still pay on the Quadient machines, but we wouldn't start the new Pitney Bowes contract until January. So pricing for the mailing solution, option 1 and option 3 in the attached proposal would be a total of $43,699.20 over the 5-year contract. For comparison purposes, pricing for the Quadient machines 5 years ago was $30,640.80. I've asked for updated pricing from Postal Source, which I suspect will be closer to the Pitney Bowes proposed cost when I get that. I will have that updated pricing by the September board meeting. Assuming the price is similar, and considering the issues that we've had with the Quadient machines, my recommendation will be to move forward with the Pitney Bowes machines, and we'll bring that to the September board meeting for approval. Any questions?
Just out of curiosity, what are the problems we were having with the other machines?
Some of it is,
Physical, not printing, or not tallying the right amounts and things?
Sealing is one of the biggest issues with the machines, that is supposed to seal as it's going through and putting the postage on. That's one of our biggest issues. And then also with Postal Source, going to them and trying to get them to come out and service the machines in a timely fashion has also been a struggle.
So when we use a postal machine, the postage, we go send that separately to the post office, or does that all go through the machine as a bill?
All goes through the machine.
Okay. And do we get discounts on that from regular post charges?
Yes, I believe so.
We should be, but I don't think it's really significant.
Yeah, I don't think it's a whole lot.
Yeah, but there should be some reduced cost in postage.
And that's regardless of whose machine we use?
Correct.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments on postage machines? All right, moving to the world of boiler repair. That's quite a transition there.
Okay.
You're still in the hot seat.
Yeah. So we currently have a total of 3 large boilers, and then we have 2 smaller boilers on site. The large ones were installed in around 2000. The smaller ones were installed in 2019. Although one of the larger boilers currently is, it developed a leak that allowed water to enter the burner and gas supply lines, compromising both the safety and functionality of the system. Due to concerns related to natural gas safety, the boiler has been inoperable for a little bit. Given the extent of the damage, we're looking to do a complete rebuild of the larger boiler. This project will include installing a modernized system designed to significantly increase operational efficiency, improve safety standards, and reduce long-term maintenance costs. As the weather is starting to get colder in the coming months, it's crucial for us to get this repair and upgrade approved as soon as possible to ensure a reliable and safe heating system for our school community. We expect this repair to extend the life of the current boiler, which was originally intended to be replaced in the next 7 years or so. Administration requested a proposal from Boris Mechanical, who has completed work on our district boilers in the past. And so I'd be looking to bring the quote from Boris to the board in September at the board meeting, and that's a total of $27,990.
What are we looking at if you got a whole new boiler, just roundabout from your past experience? Like,
Hundreds of thousands of dollars.
really? Okay.
And in the winter, do we use all 5 of those units all at the same time, or do they switch back and forth?
I believe we do use all of them at the same time. I'm not exactly sure. I can find out. I do know that if we don't have this boiler up and running, that'll be an issue for this winter.
Any other boiler questions?
The boiler system, is that separate from the train contracts that we have?
Yes. The train is just the air handlers?
Okay, that's just the air handlers, and the boiler is what puts in the hot air into the handlers then? That, separate
Sure,
systems?
yeah.
Connected, okay.
All right, that brings us to Press Plus 119, first reading.
So the Illinois Association of School Boards Press Plus Policies Service has distributed issue 119, policy recommendations. District leadership team has reviewed them and has sent them off to the board. I have received some feedback that we have incorporated into some of the policies already. I know, Rich, you had sent me something today. I did not get around to getting your recommendations into the board packet because the packet was distributed on Friday.
Okay.
So if there are any other questions or recommendations for the policy, you can tell them to me now, or if you want to shoot me an email if you need more time to look through them. But we'll come back at the regular meeting in September, in 2 weeks from tonight, for the approval under new business, because I believe that was asked to be removed out of consent last time.
That is correct.
Yep.
So, Rich, are you comfortable with the responses to the points that you brought up before?
I actually have not seen them. Did they,
When I
Oh,
was
in
in
an
email.
email?
They went out as an email
when?
that same day that you had sent me an email on Thursday. I think I sent it to the board on Friday
I
or
think it was a
Thursday.
Friday email
August
that went point by
28th.
point through
Yeah.
your
August 28th.
comments.
I saw the ones where you had done the initial recommendations, and then I saw what looked like response to me and to the board with some things, but I didn't note many of the things, and I had added a few more to them, so.
That was the email from today, right? The additional?
A couple additional, yeah.
Yeah. I'll review those tomorrow, and then I'll get a response back to the board.
Okay.
And Rich, maybe if you can't find that email, then maybe Kirk can resend it or somehow so you can see what the responses were to the points that you brought up before.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I had a couple of issues with just a few of the policies.
Any other questions or comments regarding policy 119?
119?
119, Press Plus 119.
Oh, I'm
the
sorry. I'm
packet
like,
of
which one is
policies.
that?
No, sorry, the packet
Issue
of policies
119, yeah.
119.
Because I'm frantically searching for something here, but I see and correct me for not having all my ducks in a row right here, but did they take out the word regular, like, let me find this thing, like regular board meeting? I saw the word regular was taken out in one of them. Here, and then, so then I was reading 4:50, and it says, Board of Education, advance of the board's first regular monthly meeting. Do we need to take the word regular out of this one too, to be consistent with what they were doing in a different policy?
Where was that second regular noted?
It's like this, it's really in the first sentence, I guess. Under payment procedures, the treasurer shall prepare a list of all due and payable bills indicating vendor name and amount, and shall present it to Board of Education in advance of the board's first regular monthly meeting. And I had noticed in another one, they took out the word regular, and does that make a difference here?
So for policy 2240, the reason
Okay.
why the word regular was stricken is because we do first reading at the cow,
Okay,
and then the approvals at the regular.
okay,
So if we went back, if we included the word regular in there, then we would have to do the first reading at the regular,
okay,
and then approval at the following regular, which would stretch it out for,
which would be weird,
which
yeah.
would be kind of
Yeah,
cumbersome.
okay, all right, I understand now, thank you.
Anything else?
Anything after Thursday?
Okay, then, this constitutes a first reading of Press Plus 119, and any further concerns or questions, reach out to Kurt, and we'll have further discussion and second reading approval at the regular meeting in 2 weeks.
So if everything isn't buttoned up on the ones that there's some questions on, we can do an approval of everything else?
We can pull
and
something aside if we
defer
choose
the,
to, yes.
Few that are under question and move those along then, right?
Yeah, if the board wishes to pull something out and hold it for later, because there's still some language that needs to be clarified, yes, we can certainly do that. Right then, that brings us to new business, software renewal. The recommended motion that the Board of Education approve the renewal of software contracts as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Casey Mayer,
Aye.
Mr. Nagel,
Aye.
Mr. Ramos,
Aye.
Ms. Munoz,
Aye.
Ms. Chavez. Aye. Ms. Murphy,
Aye.
Mr. Brown.
Aye. Motion carries. Donations over $500. The recommended motion that the Board of Education accept the donations as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Nagel,
Aye.
Mr. Ramos,
Aye.
Ms. Munoz,
Aye.
Ms. Chavez. Aye. Ms. Murphy,
Aye.
Mr. Brown,
Aye.
Ms. Casey Mayer.
Aye.
Motion carries. That brings us to audio recordings. The recommended motion that the Board of Education approve the destruction of audio recordings of closed session Board of Education meetings made prior to January 1st, 2024, which meets the state criteria of being at least 18 months old and for which approved minutes are retained as the official records of the board's business.
So moved.
Second.
All right, I know we're going to have some discussion on this, and one of the things that was requested by Rich was a list of the specific meeting dates that would be included within that. And
So I have a packet
Yeah.
here, if you'd like to take one and pass it around. Oh, I think I left one out.
And it has been for a long time the standard process for this board, as well as probably almost any public board across the state of Illinois, once they instituted the requirement for audio recordings, to purge them after 18 months, because there's no statutory requirement to keep them past 18 months. The only reason for the audio recordings being made in the first place was a law that was passed to make sure that if a complaint saying that a board violated the Open Meetings Act was made, then a judge, should they choose to want to investigate that complaint, the judge would listen to that recording and be able to make a ruling. Yes, there was a violation of open meetings, or no, there was not. That was the only purpose for those recordings, was for a judge to make the ruling for or against an Open Meetings Act violation.
And we're now outside the statute of limitations.
We are well past the statute
Well
of
past.
limitations, where you have 60 days from the date of a meeting for somebody to lodge a complaint saying that an Open Meetings Act violation occurred at that meeting.
And I'd like it put on record that we did already vote at this at the previous meeting.
just like to point out that we have the opportunity to destroy audio recordings, but not required to do that. So if we choose to be cautious by not destroying them, doesn't violate any laws either.
It doesn't violate any laws, but what would the purpose be?
Well, just to be able to have those available. I
the
think there was
purpose
also something in one of the recent policies that we looked at that said a new board member has the opportunity to request to hear the audio recordings to help them get more on board with what's been going on as they took their position.
And I will say, I don't know what all the rumbling is about on some of these, but before I would vote to destroy them, I would like to review those recordings to make sure that that's what I'm voting on.
Okay, and just to be
Again?
clear, at the last meeting, the board did vote to destroy these audio recordings, and then right as the meeting was about to end, there was a request to take a pause on that so that we could confirm with legal counsel whether there was any legal reason why we would want to hold on to those. And that did occur, and legal counsel said there's no legal reason for any concern whatsoever to hold on deleting those records.
Because we've also had 2 weeks, at least 2 weeks, since the previous meeting, with plenty of opportunity to discuss this with Dr. Johansson, so.
And I would also add, I do not believe, and I would be incredibly surprised if an audio recording of a closed session meeting is subject to the Freedom of Information Act. I believe somebody can do a FOIA request for minutes of a closed session meeting if those minutes had been opened by the board. If they haven't been opened, obviously they're not going to be able to. But I don't believe that there's any mechanism for somebody to do a FOIA request for a closed session audio recording.
Prior to Dr. Johansson joining us as superintendent, I had requested the opportunity to listen to those closed session minutes and was given an incredible runaround and never got the opportunity to do that. I have repeatedly, since November 7th of 2023, asked for the report that was presented to us in that closed session and asked for a copy of it and have never received a copy of it. I was able to view it thanks to Dr. Johansson. But that is the full reason why I believe that that meeting was an illegal open meeting or closed session and a violation of the Open Meetings Act. And it continues to be a contentious topic, and I am not quite certain why this board is in such a hurry to destroy those minutes when we do not have to. It seems like for all the talk of transparency that comes out of people, we are trying to hide something. And that is exactly how it feels to me as a board member, is I was denied the right to hear and those minutes. Initially, I have been denied the right, as is every member of this board that I'm aware of. There may be some members that have received a copy of that report, but some of us have not, despite repeated requests. And now, all of a sudden, we're rushing to get rid of those copies of the minutes, despite the fact that there was a vote where 3 of us wanted to retain them. And that's a pretty significant division in the board.
It's been almost 2 years since that meeting. So as Bob said, we are well past any statute of limitations. And Dr. Johansson's been here for over a year. Have you asked him to sit in his office with him and listen to it?
No, I have not.
Okay, well,
I have asked this
you
board
had
to
an over
keep
a
them.
year, you had that opportunity to do so.
We've been doing other things.
Yeah, we've been doing a lot of things.
On the table
The destruction, excuse me, but I'm speaking right now. Excuse me, but,
Hold on, one
excuse
at a
me.
time, please.
I have the floor. I am
Just hold on,
speaking right
Kathy.
now. There's been plenty of opportunity to deal with
You
this.
said
and
that.
Kathy, just hold on, please.
This came up, the destruction of these audio recordings came up in a timely fashion. There's no rush. We do this every 6 months, I'm going to say off the top of my head, because this was nothing special. Everybody voted to destroy these. It was, what we are doing tonight almost could be a violation for all I know. I have never seen us ever pull back a vote and then redo it at a following meeting. We are not taking these home. Nobody has taken home that Title IX. Nobody. Because you know what happens when you give it to somebody? Because we've seen things like that happen. They get posted around on social media. And that is why nobody has a copy of it. It's not like special people have a copy. Nobody has a copy. So this is all being treated just like normal, everyday
That
business.
was not marked confidential when we were in the meeting. We were not told that. We were just denied a copy. That
Anything that's
meeting-
presented is confidential in closed
That
session.
meeting initially was supposed to be in open session, and suddenly at the last minute was changed to closed session. And I have a lot of validation of that point. I'm not quite sure who decided to make that decision, but it never should have. It did not address any student's name. The whole reason we went into closed session on that evening was to discuss the placement of individual students in special education programs and other matters related to individual students, specifically the Title IX investigation. Nowhere in the report that I saw, either in that closed session meeting or in Dr. Johansson's meeting, was any individual student discussed or anything to do with an individual student. So that was a clear and flagrant violation of the Open Meetings Act.
I would disagree with you, but on your point of why is there a rush to go ahead and do this, I don't have in mind the exact date where that law went into effect for recording closed session meetings, but I would say it's been well over 15 years. And I would say since that law went into effect, this board and all the other school boards and pretty much any other public body in the state, every 6 months you get rid of anything that's older than 18 months. There's no big rush. This is just standard business. It's in our policy manual.
We have an issue with storage space in this school, that we can't retain that.
I don't think it's a storage space issue. I think it's a matter of following our policies.
It's not our policy to get rid of it. It is an option. So when 3 board members request that we not choose that option, I think it is a little discouraging and very suspicious that other people would want to rush to do that.
I respect the fact that 3 board members were wanting to hold on to those records for a longer period of time. That is why I came up with a method at the last meeting where we could back out of that approval to give it a couple more weeks, check with the attorney, any other issues, any other reasons why we might want to hold on to that. And to this point, we've basically been given the all clear. There's no real solid reason why we should deviate from our standard policy.
Then one board member would like to review them, another board member would like to review them, and another board member is resistant to getting rid of those because he, as I do, sees no reason to do it.
We're voting on this, correct?
Yes, we are.
What is
So
the,
This
I
is the
don't-
discussion
what is
part.
the purpose?
It's been moved and seconded, so
What
we
is
are
the
discussing it.
purpose? Okay, 2 questions. If it's so important to review them, nobody has gone, that's not really a question, it's a statement. Nobody has reached out to review them, so I'm not sure why we need to hang on to them. For how long, then? I guess that's the question. At what point do we determine that people are too busy, they don't have time to review them, but they still may want to review them, so I should hang on to them because somebody might want to someday ask me, can I come listen to them? Because nobody's asked in quite some time. And secondly, I don't understand what the purpose is. What is the purpose? Because nothing can, we're past the statute of limitations, so no judge or jury is going to listen to anything because it's too late. And we are working so hard, moving forward. Mary's done so many wonderful things. Dr. Johansson's been doing so many wonderful things moving forward. To me, this is us living in the past. And I don't want to live in the past anymore. I'm tired of it. I am really tired of it as a board member. And I really want to work for the students here and keep moving forward and stop this living in the past.
Do you really think that destruction of those tapes are going to change anything?
Yeah, I do.
I do because
I do.
there's a practice and there's a procedure in place, and we've already adhered to it. And we've done our due diligence.
voted
We've
on
looked
it.
at-
We
We've sought
voted
out
on
our
it.
legal counsel. Kurt has done everything we've asked him to do.
There was a valid legal question brought up on the Attorney General and whether that was any reason why we should hold off on destroying that particular recording. And we got a legal ruling from our attorney that, nope, that's in no way would be a reason to not go ahead and follow our standard process.
I'm a little concerned that herein is a case where we want to follow our legal counsel, and yet in a couple other meetings, we, by multiple people, said we don't really care what the law says, or we're not going to follow our legal counsel's recommendation. We're going to do what we want, but all of a sudden, now we want to go on the recommendation of the legal counsel.
All right.
What exactly is the purpose that is making the four of you so in a rush
We
to
want to move
get rid
forward,
of
Kathy.
these?
We've
And
had this
how-
discussion
tell me
multiple times at the
exactly
table,
how
and I
is-
think it should go to our vote, and we all have our vote.
How exactly is this, what are you guys trying to hide? That
Nothing.
you want to get rid of it?
Nothing.
Nothing at
Looks
all.
pretty darn fishy to me.
We still have the minutes from the meeting?
The minutes are worthless. The minutes are so vague and oblique, they have absolutely nothing to do with what actually occurred in that meeting. So,
I think it's a question of whether this board wants to move forward or focus on the past. And that is a choice we have
I
to
think
make.
you are absolutely wrong, because I don't think we can ever move forward, because as long as we haven't resolved the past, we're gonna continue to have a board that disagrees with each other with a 3 or 4 vote on the most critical things that a board can vote on.
So what do you envision with, what's your long-term vision with hanging on to this?
I would like to make that report public and have the Attorney General's findings public, but we've been had that held back
And then
pending Dan.
so what is your goal when if, say that happens, we release the Title IX, we post it on the website and everybody can see it, and we give it to the Attorney General and we post all his, then what is your
For
vision?
one thing, it would be transparency about what occurred in a pretty dark period of this board's history. For another thing, it would let our community that stood here and ranted and raved based on false information.
They told their own stories.
And I think it's unfair to depict as false
Yes.
information.
They
That is
told their
disrespectful.
own lived
That is disrespectful
stories.
to the people that came and spoke.
I'm not
Yeah.
talking about the people that came and told their stories. I'm talking
Just
about
said
the
that.
people who came believing everything that was put in that ISB report that was unfounded when we got the results from ISB, and that supposedly was unfounded when we got there. And for the things that did have a basis, it gives us an opportunity to tell the community that we took this seriously and we are doing something about it.
I think they see that we took that
Yeah.
report seriously because of the changes that happened within this district between then and now.
Yeah.
That's your opinion, and I think it's, once again, very falsified and hiding the bones, so.
I am very much about transparency, and I don't feel that following our standard practice on this is in any way failing transparency, because the sole purpose for that recording is long past the ability to be used for that sole purpose.
I have heard about transparency for many, many years on this board, And quite frankly, in the last few years, the last thing I believe we've been is truly transparent, because a lot of things were done behind closed doors that never should have been done, and were talked about behind closed doors. But then we walk outside and go, oh, we're so transparent because we're putting this piece up on public streaming and everybody can see it, and yet we're not telling them some of the things that we really did and what it costs this community.
I am sorry that you feel that way. I certainly do not feel that way. I believe that we've had very transparent, open discussion and debate, and sometimes disagreement in front of our community. And I'm not sure exactly, and I don't want to get into specifics on the behind closed doors issues that you're talking about, but I don't believe that that has been a major part of what's going on in this board. I believe we have been very in front of the public on what we've decided.
These minutes are case in point.
What's case in point? I'm sorry, I didn't
The
hear.
minutes on that board, on that closed session.
We talked to the attorney, you consulted the attorney on that as well, because Rich and I had some questions about,
Yeah, the legal statute is a summary, and
Yeah.
summary is a very subjective word according to the attorney.
yeah.
Your term of summary might be different than mine, might be different than somebody else's. So that in the minutes of closed session, it just says that there has to be a summary of the discussion taking place.
That is why the recording is important. The summary is just that, and that is not transparent.
Okay, does anybody else have anything new to add to this discussion?
I just have one question. Would we have, retaining this doesn't mean you open it to the public, right? The public never listens to closed sessions. Okay. So that's not even an option.
Well, that's for the board to
That
decide.
would defeat the whole purpose of closed session.
Right, right.
All right, it sounds like there are some disagreements here, but,
Closed session.
pardon me?
If it truly should have been closed session, I think that.
Well, it's well past the statute of limitations to file a complaint in that regard, but realistically, I try to be as open and fair-minded about this kind of stuff as I can. I don't see any reason why that should not have been closed session material. I tend to want to avoid closed session. I want to be open session for anything possible, and that was valid closed session material.
Did you look at the report? Did you actually see the physical report at any point?
You did back then, right?
Back then, yeah.
And did you sit in that closed session and listen to the presentation
Yes, I
given
did.
to us? And did you ever look at it after that point?
I do not believe so.
Okay, well, from the time you saw it and from the time, during that period of time when you sat and listened to it, can you give me one example? And since we're in open session now, you don't have to do that now. But before we destroy these, I'd like to see one example that referred to the reasons we went into closed session, that there was any specific student spoken about and that we legitimately had. And if you can do that, I'll happily go along with saying, let's get this done. But if that can't be done, then I cannot support it, and I would say that every single one of you who is saying doing that is absolutely the least transparent people I've ever met in my life. And
I'm sorry
shame
you
on
feel that
anybody
way.
who would do that. So tell me that you have any recall of a person being mentioned, a specific student.
Bob, I think it's
I'm
unfair to
not going
put
to
you in that
discuss the specifics
situation
of that report.
because that's such a long time ago. So it would be unfair for you to even have to do that. I'm sorry.
Does anybody else have anything new to add to this discussion? Clearly, there's some disagreement, but any other new points to bring up? All right, it's been moved and seconded to proceed with the destruction of audio recordings made of closed session prior to January 1st, 2024. And a vote of aye will mean that those tapes will be destroyed. Roll call, please.
Mr. Remus,
Absolutely not, and shame on all of you for doing
Ms.
that.
Munoz,
Aye.
Ms. Chavez. Aye. Ms. Murphy.
Without being on the board at that time or reviewing them, no.
Mr. Brown.
Aye.
Ms. Casey Mayer.
For my second vote on this matter, aye.
Mr. Nagel?
All right, motion carries. That's the completion of our business for today. We will be going into closed session. There will not be any action taken after closed session. The recommended motion, the Board of Education will hold a closed session at 7:45 PM for the purpose of collective negotiating matters.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Munoz?
Aye.
Ms. Chavez?
Aye.
Ms. Murphy?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Ms. Casey Mayer?
Aye.
Mr. Nagel?
Aye.
Mr. Remus?
No.
Okay, we are going into closed session. Why don't we take 5?